Hey y'all. So we decided to start this series for several reasons. And it's been a pressing issue on us anyway. Um there has been a lot that has been happening in Louisville Metro housing for years, but in public housing, period. What we wanted to make sure to do was to create space for those people within the public housing sector to have space and not only just tell their story, because let's get real, that gets old really, really quickly, but somewhere where they can amplify how they have been moving to power. So that's the reason why we call this LMHA Organizing. You'll be able to see this scheduled out. We're trying to make sure we do this, especially after the Metro housing meetings. The Louisville Metro housing meetings that take place every third Thursday. We'll send that information out in just a second. But we also wanted to make sure that you actually hear from residents who are bold enough to organize within Louisville Metro Housing Authority. A lot of folks talk about like what they've been doing based on their own personal situations, but also we wanted to talk to people who are like willing to support other folks as they are raising issues and concerns in Louisville Metro Housing Authority. So that's what this show is going to be about. We want to make sure that you all know how to get involved if you want to get involved. There are different entities that are helping to organize folks, but we wanted to make sure that we absolutely hold this space to show what is going on and who is raising what concerns. So today we'll be talking to folks from Dosker Manor because there's a lot that is being said about Dosker Manor, but there is not a lot about who is organizing and what people are saying. So we'll talk to those folks in just about 20 minutes. I just want this like screen to sink in so that you know when you see LMHA Organizing, you know that we're talking about power building. We'll also talk to some folks at 7 o'clock. So if you know people that are in Section 8 and have those Section 8 horror stories or have talked to certain folks in Section 8, definitely come on at 7. And the reason why we are doing this piece is because ever since we started really getting down deep into who runs what at LMHA and who ain't doing shit at LMHA, we have found out that there are some ways to move them to accountability. Are they in full accountability mode? Absolutely not. It's a government entity, right? But we do know that there are some people who have not been as vocal about what their position is and what they do to support being able to call out some of those other folks. This show also should probably come with a disclaimer, writing that down right now, that we make sure we talk about who isn't performing at their best at LMHA. We won't be calling anybody any names. We're not doing any of that. We don't mind if people hit us up. What we won't do is get nasty in the comments. We won't be sending nasty messages. We will definitely address this in a very sensible manner. If you'd like to set up a meeting with folks who have addressed certain LMHA employees or contractors, then let's do that, because what we do know is there is a lot of intimidation and a lot of discrimination that takes place at LMHA. So that's what the space is for. Folks are welcome to join. Let me see here if I got the contact information up. Here's our contact information. You want to just share your story. We know people are dealing with a lot of trauma around housing, so definitely come and share your story. Are you organizing residents underneath your landlord? Is your landlord still not making the news or still not making these very popular spaces where people are talking about? Absolutely. Let us help you organize your residents. Folks can organize themselves, and we are very much a fan of people doing so. And it's just been working beautifully in Louisville. Are you being intimidated by LMHA employees or contractors? We do have a safety set and space on how we want to do this. So make sure that you all share that information with us, but be safe about it. Because yes, people do like to retaliate at LMHA, and we want to capture that. That is the entire reason why we're asking that question. Um, there is a lot of things that are happening federally. And so one of those updates is something that I wanted to share. Uh, I'm looking like this because I'm about to be tech and I'm not going to be on here that long, like that. So, Mark Morgan McGarvey, our House rep for District 3, the federal state house, had a town hall the other day and did absolutely speak around housing issues, and named that there would be some conversations that are taking place with the director of HUD at the national and federal level and some other folks. Um, our space is definitely naming that a lot of these people who sit in those positions are not talking to residents, and residents are not getting updates on these situations. So that's been pretty disheartening and frustrating. And that is the reason why we have some of those folks here just to discuss like what their plans are for the work that they do and how they see that work moving into the future. Um, the reason why I named that in such a way is because a lot of people have been naming some very disheartening things about residents at Adaska Manor. Folks are crackheads, folks are on drugs, and while folks are like that, the situation of their condition is governed by our federal and state government, lots of government officials. And so there is a very large responsibility, not only on the individual self, but also the entities that are supposed to maintain, but are the landlords of that property. So when we're talking about like the roof is falling off, which happened, when we're talking about like the garbage is not being picked up and is backed up in the collector, that happens all the time. When we are talking about the elevators not working and leaving people who are disabled, a large part of Oscar Manor population is disabled, trapped in apartments or can't get up. Those are the things that we're talking about. We're also talking about like how many decades it has been since any type of updates have been made at Dosker Manor. So those are the things that we are talking about. We are not necessarily naming who's directly at fault for somebody else's personal condition. That's a whole nother topic, a whole nother show. But what we are talking about is this federal funded agency, and how they are not taking care of their residents. So um, the folks that we have with us today are LMHA residents. We'll have folks from Dosco Manor come on in just a little bit, and then they'll talk about like what they've been doing over the years and stuff, as well as like what they've done because of the lack of resources at their location. And like I said, closer to 7, we should be hearing from folks from Section 8 and what they've been doing around organizing. Not only are they going to these meetings with like Dosker Manor and other senior living home people within LMHA, they're absolutely raising the concerns of their own and what they've been finding out. So those are the things that we want to notate as we move through this process. I know a lot of folks want to be like, well, who are we talking to and how do we make sure our voices are heard? I'm going to tell you right now, Facebook is not going to be your place. It's definitely your friend. I'm not going to say that. But you need to actually make sure to show up at these board meetings because they don't expect you to be there. They don't expect you to find out who is in charge of what department. And they absolutely don't expect you to name and organize other residents and make sure that you get housing justice for yourself and a place to call home. So those are some things that we've notated in the last few months. Well, actually, in the last 2 years. One of those other stories we wanted to name about what organizing power looks like within public housing sector is back in October 2021. Park Duval and a few other income-based senior homes in the Park Duval area did not have power overnight. Well, for like 10 hours. People were worried about their medication, and that is refrigerated. And they were also worried about their food because it can't afford as much food, of course, being retired or just being a senior. We came in, made sure they had food, and organized a lot of joy, but also just making sure that there was comfort there. The council person at the time is Keisha Dorsey, who always has gone over there. But we really looked into like what are some of the issues of why that situation happened. Many of these complexes that were built underneath HUD funding, Hope Six, and others do not have all the necessary components that they should have in case of emergency. A generator, also backup protocols that seniors should know. Telling folks where they can go when they come out of a building is one thing, but like there are different types of climate emergencies. So since then, folks, we met with them like every month, made sure that they were detailing every issue that happened in their apartment, help them organize their own leadership, and then raise leadership because we know there's a lot of leadership that takes place in those locations. And they aren't actually seeing the people that live there. And now they have created their own tenant organizing space. They have made sure to address National Council and LMHA, and they are helping to organize other folks in LMHA. What is the ultimate goal? When residents who are directly impacted are able to pull power, they are then able to make the decisions that are necessary to be made. Just because somebody gets paid doesn't mean that they get to make the decision over somebody. That's just not how it goes. Okay. I am waiting on our folks to get back up here. Look like one's getting off work. Yeah. Why is this so many people outside? Everybody keep talking about some traffic. Okay, looking at my messages. The other thing is we want to make sure that people know where that meeting is at. I've got to make that one and then update it. But like I said, it is the third Thursday. I can put it in here. The third Thursday of the month. One thing that we did find out was that there are no scheduled committee meetings, which is something they told us to attend for our concerns. And we did call that out. We are supposed to be getting a scheduled, but we do not know how soon that's going to come. We were able to give that to the board chair, Ms. Gina Harris. So we are hoping that that gets to the rest of the board because it is not on their website for folks to attend. So when people say, are you attending the other meetings? We're attending the only meeting that is scheduled out per the LMHA website. They have in person and in Zoom. And I'll get that information and share it soon. I'm sending this to the comment right now. And then I'm going to send that here as well. There you go. Let me see. All right. Enzo, you ready? Enzo, can you hear me? Must be something wrong with his phone. He keeps jumping off. I'm trying to check to see how his phone is doing. Yeah, absolutely. Make sure y'all have y'all's charger. Oh, that's not coming out right. Your charger. Okay. All right. Hey, Enzo, can you hear me? You can come off mute.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Let me get this music down a little bit. You got your charger with you? Just in case, because it does do that. It's kind of like a Zoom. All right. For years, you've been on your soapbox telling your story about what has been happening at Dosker. Why was it now that you really were just like, let me take advantage of this time period? I know that it's because you're a resident, but what really made you speak out about it? What were some things that you were seeing that just didn't sit right?
I've been in greetings, everyone. I've been
I did it again. Okay. So one, their building sucks. Let's switch him out and talk to Jasmine Harris, who not only is doing some local organizing work, she also does some national organizing work too.
Hello, Chanel. Nice to talk to you today.
You got a charger?
Yeah, my phone's charging now. Hello.
So, what made you jump into housing organizing? I think that's where we're going to start at. That'll work.
I jumped in housing organizing in January of 2021 with New Directions because my whole ceiling, I was living on the third floor, and a part of where I was staying, my whole ceiling had fell in, and I had a lot of water damage happen because of that. And I was asking for my maintenance people to come in a timely manner. And it ended up taking them almost a month to come fix that problem. And when you live on the third story of a third story building and the roof falls in, that brings bugs. That brings all kind of things, that just make your body crawling when you think about it. But New Directions was a lot of things that they were doing, and a lot of neglectful acts that they were causing to me and other tenants, specifically in the Russell apartments. So me and a lot of the tenants inside of the Russell apartments started to organize, and with the help of BLM, those early meetings were started, and that's when that in the beginning, we were not only organizing but also making sure that people in the building were fed. And what that looks like is right before the meeting, making sure we were facing 500 pancakes, and making sure that everybody their bellies was fed before they started to get some other knowledge to feed their minds as far as housing organizing goes. So we started to organize all 2021, 2022. We had our demands. They were clear for the people. And with the help of another tenants union, we created a fair lease for everyone, which caused a lot of attention, and New Directions really heard the issues that we were facing. Moving forward, we don't want to continue to fight with them. We want them to work with us. We are the residents. The reason why they are getting the funding and everything is because it's for the tenants. So we want them to work with us and hear us first, and that's the main thing to look forward to for 2024 with the New Directions Tennis Union. So it all started because we all, wanted our basic needs as far as our maintenance met. And since they weren't listening to us, we decided to organize and hold them accountable. Thank you, Chanel. Back to you.
You're so goofy. You mentioned a what was that you mentioned? A fair housing what?
The fair housing lease. So that was basically all of our maintenance issues. Like we want our maintenance issues to be fixed in a timely manner. We have the right to organize. Everyone, if they have, renovations to happen, they need to happen across all of the units. So those are just a few things just off the top of my head that the fair lease could help the people with New Directions with. And it's just it's amazing seeing all of the people that want to organize inside of Doskin Manor. And since I know how they feel being in a similar situation, I look forward to helping them organize and use their own voice. And I know that this is going to be a big battle, but we will win. Doskin Manor, whereas the Russell Apartments only had one apartment with 80 units in it, Doskin Manor has 3 big buildings. Most of them are seniors or people living, people that just want to live. They just want housing. They're not even asking for too much. So it's I look forward to helping all of the tenants organize and use their voice. The more people, the more power.
Dope. That was very helpful and thankful because I think that is definitely something that many of them have been naming. Okay, Enzo can hear now. Lord, I think that the buildings there have some issues. We did pretty good the other day. We were practicing, but it is knocking people out. So we're going to try Enzo now. Enzo, can you come off mute? Can you hear? Oh, he got knocked out again. Okay, Angie, can you hear?
Yeah, I
Okay.
can hear.
Okay, good. He might be running around up there. So I think that's what's going on with him. Enzo keeps getting knocked out. But I did see like he was moving around. I wanted him to talk about his plan, but I'll just ask you a few questions and then just, move into like how you got to this space and time right now around fighting for what is taking place at Dosker. How long have you lived at Dosker?
6 years. I lived in Doskin 4 years, 4 years in the A building, and I left for a year and came back, and I've been at B building for 6 years.
Okay. And then as you've lived there, what are some things that you've noticed as far as like the conditions of the buildings, but has any of the apartments you've been in had some serious issues?
The what I've noticed since I've been back here was the drug activities has gotten more to the forefront. I've noticed there's more rapes and ODs. Um, the conditions of the buildings have gone down. um, it's just way worse than it was when I first lived here. Janelle,
Sorry, yeah, my mouth just running. When you really first started you seeing that you wanted to do something, you really wanted to start helping folks. What did you first start doing?
well, the first thing I started doing, I seen a need. I was helping people, feeding people uh, from my own income, and then that was stopped. Uh, I was not charging anybody anything for it, and they stopped me from doing it. The management office and resident council stopped me from doing it.
And when was that?
Just last year in 2022.
What it won't even let me post that. Um, why do you think they made you stop?
They said that I was getting complaints on me. Said some people were uh, complaining, saying that I was selling the food, and then there were people saying that there wasn't, that the same people are eating every time. When I was posting posting it on the poster board, on the doors, and on the poster board at first come first serve. And so, and I would report, I mean, I would put on there free, 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 and then um I would post what I had cooked, and I would post the time that I would start serving. So since LMHA said that since I was getting complaints about uh, uh, me lying, basically they were saying that I was lying because when they would come and get the food, then I would be charging.
Um, do people come and bring food there to give away?
No, I mean, it started out to where different churches were coming, but then that became a problem too.
And where did they set up at? Like, what was the setup for it? Because I know we've come and given away food, but we've been there and dropped it off. People get word of mouth. They run out of the buildings and
And
stuff. Not run, but you know what I mean. But
yeah, and that's the way it was. The churches will pull up out front, and they will ask you, do you want something to eat? And they'll be like, yeah, and they give them, and then it went, on, from word of mouth that they giving out food out there, go get it, and they did that until it was all gone. And then churches used to come up and give away clothes. Uh, they would give away food and clothes. That was like every 3 weeks or so, and then that stopped. I don't know. I don't know why it stopped. I don't know if LMHA said for them to stop or if it had anything to do with the residents. I'm not sure. I just know it stopped.
okay. And then, what about you all's meeting room? How often do you all get to use that?
We don't. We haven't used the meeting room since COVID.
And how was it used before COVID?
They had computers in there and TV, and you can just go in there, and they had like you could get coffee, and every now and then they may have like if churches donated it, coffee, danises or whatnot, and you could just go in there and play games on the computer, watch TV. Some people would play. They had where you could play games such as checkers, uh, dominoes. Um, what is that other game they played with all the colors to them, with the colors and the numbers, and you know,
Bingo?
not bingo. The other one, Uno.
Grr.
Heck, I forgot.
Hold on, I'm about to say Twister.
Mm-mm. Oh no. Uno. So that was only open from like maybe 9 to well, from like 9 to 3 or something like that, or 2. It was only a few hours of the day, maybe 4 hours a day. Then COVID hit, so everything shut down. Then they said they were gonna open it back up, and that hasn't been open to my knowledge.
On our next show, we'll make sure to share some. I know people have been sharing pictures of folks' apartments, and that's the main thing that we really want to share about Dosker Manor. There is corrosion throughout the entire building, and people are living in this. The repairs that the repair people do is just to put plaster over top of it, and then it still corrodes in another spot near it and by it. And it happens over and over and over again. So people are cleaning up their apartments. When we generalize, we make an assumption that like everybody lives a certain type of way just because you see one particular group of people living a certain type of way. Everyone's apartment that we have been to and have visited, even the folks who have issues, have used so much of their own money and the resources that people are bringing to them, because folks are doing this on their own. While we're naming groups, people are coming on their own from their group to feed people, to house people when they can. And that's been the
Hmm.
hardest part. People are really trying to help people get out of there. But people are cleaning profusely in their apartments. One man even stated that he fixes his apartment because he doesn't trust the maintenance folks of LMHA. And so that's something that we're looking into, like what is the requirements to be a maintenance person and what does that look like? And before folks are just like, it's just a maintenance person, we really have to understand that like maintenance is how we sustain ourselves in our homes. And so if you cannot do that, then you are going to end up with dilapidated and unsustainable housing. Enzo, are you able to, you got good reception now?
I know. In my apartment, they have came twice and plastered over
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
plastered over the same area that you seen, Chanel. They done that twice, and it's right back again.
I'm
So
gonna be
I
sure to
got
take pictures each and every time, because I've seen where they did Mary's like that too.
so, and then I have taken pictures. I've deleted them off my phone, but I've taken pictures to where I've caught 3 or 4 mice, three mice on one trap, 2 mice on another trap. I've taken pictures of all that stuff.
Oh, trap.
And
Okay.
then I showed it. I showed it to the office.
What the office say?
Nothing. I don't want to see that. I
Greetings,
said,
Chanel.
this is what I got going on in my apartment.
Can you hear me? All right, I'm gonna ask Enzo a few questions because he's got this idea around what a task force would be. But Enzo, just like we did with Angie, I just want to ask, like, how long you lived there, and then um, what are some of the issues that are reoccurring for you? So first, how long have you lived at Dosker?
Greetings, everyone. Thank you, Chanel. Been here 9 years. The plan was to move in. Moved in Dodson in 2015. It wasn't my first choice, but it was available and it was downtown in a good location. So I told my mama, my son, and everybody, don't worry, I'll only be in Dodson for about a year, 2 months max. This was in 2015. So what happened is it really is a trap. When you hear the rapper rap about the trap, Metro
Mm-hmm.
housing is a trap. There's too many people that's been here for 15 years, 20 years with no way out. And in the meantime, I've been here 9 years. In 2018, Metro Council had dozens of meetings and gave $100 million to the Omni Hotel. Meanwhile, I'd already been in Dawson for 3 years. Now, when I rolling by the Omni Hotel, where it is now, there was a bunch of old historic buildings. So they have votes about whether to demolish the historic buildings. They did that. Then they start building the new 100 million, where the hotel cost 300 million, and in which the taxpayers gave 100 million to build that hotel. Then rolling by the hotel in my wheelchair every day, I talked to some of the construction where I used to do construction work. So come to find out, the construction workers that are not even from Louisville. Many of them from Georgia, Alabama, Idaho, other states. So those guys come in here making $30 an hour from Louisville taxpayers. So at the same time, since 2018, Louisville built 8 new hotels downtown. And then the Metro Council also had meetings to vote to give $30 million to a soccer stadium. Me and many others have been living in Dosker before this hotel, all these hotels and soccer stadium and all this stuff was even built. So it's like, hey, why are we being ignored? We born and raised here. My mother's a retired school teacher. Before I had a vehicle accident, I worked out all my life, paid taxes in this city. And the interesting thing is that it is so easy when, due to living in this environment, we get into a fight or argument, and you'll spend $3,000 a month to lock us in a jail cell. But we ask for funds to move out of Metro housing, move into an environment where we can be successful. There ain't no money. We can't get any money. So why is it so easy to spend $36,000 a year to lock me and others in a jail cell? But it's so hard to come up with just $12,000 for us to move, for those of us that are working to better ourselves to move out of Metro housing into a normal apartment. So what happened? I said, okay. So I watched how they gave $100 million to the Omni and $30 million to the soccer stadium. So I said they built a task force. The task force was designed to give all this free money to all these hotels, the soccer stadium, Churchill Downs, and they also rebuilt they gave $200 million to rebuild the exposition center downtown. So okay. So now we need a task force to help those of us that have been in Documented Metro housing and experience extended period of time, 5, 10, 15, 20 or more years. We should be able to have an opportunity, because it's what happens is you get everybody. You can't paint everybody with the same brush. It's similar to when you go to when you everybody here has been to college or been to high school. You got good teachers and bad teachers, right? You got you got good teachers, good professors, and bad professors. You go to the hospital clinic, you got good nurses and bad nurses. So the Documented Metro housing residents are the same way. So the people that are working and taking classes and trying to better yourself, it's hard to do when the elevators are always broken, the fire alarms going off all night long. It's hard to study. It's hard to get to and from work. So what happens? There needs to be a specific plan for those of us that want to move, that are working to move, that are law-abiding citizens, that just need to move into a more a regular middle class residence, so that we can continue being law-abiding taxpayers and better ourselves. For instance, right now the holidays, no family or friends want to come over here for Thanksgiving. This is not a home. Dosco Manor residents are qualified for being homeless because this is not a home. A home is a place where you can have birthday parties and bring your family and bring college buddies in from out of town. So we need a focus. If the politicians aren't going to do it, we need the philanthropists. Right now, philanthropists are donating tens of $millions to all these charities and nonprofits. They just gave in September. They gave another $10 million to Give for Good Loot, which I don't know where that money go to because I haven't seen any money. I haven't seen anybody receiving any money. You got these senior citizens that are suffering. I'm still able to take care of myself, but there are people here that are suffering way worse than me, and it's not fair that they should be isolated, living in this place with no opportunity to move out. It costs rent at an apartment. You can round up to about $1,000 a month. That's $12,000 a year. So we should be able to come up with $12,000 a year. Right now, Metro Council is voting to give $114 million to that one park construction company. It was just in the news this week. So instead of, and you got the $40 million from the Piagentini case, Piagentini nonprofit scam. So that's $154 million that needs to be invested into the task force for those of us in Dosco Manor Metro Housing to move out, so we can live in a decent place, so we can live in a real place to be able to call home to build a successful life for ourselves.
I'm thankful that you were able to pull out some very important pieces, especially about these very large ventures that take place around development in this city, and the correlation of how we have had disinvestment in our housing spaces. If residents have to fight for investment in housing, that's a disinvestment. And so we have seen where development is taking place everywhere except for historically Black neighborhoods, except for places that have been traditionally redlined, not historically because they still are, and particularly within LMHA and Dosco Manor. Some residents from Riverport, which is a very new development in LMHA, have been calling out the same particular issues that Dosco has. So I want to remind folks that I told you get your charger. That it is very imperative that you mention anytime that you are being intimidated, discriminated against, or gaslit by LMHA employees or contractors. So we want to make sure folks know that. Let me put him on mute. His camera, his phone about to die. The reason why we are naming that is because it's highly illegal. It is highly illegal to intimidate, discriminate, or lie to somebody around housing or prevent them from organizing around their housing. If you call attention to an issue with your landlord or anyone that is doing something that is against the law, but then also that you feel like it's unfair, you have the right to do so. But if they interrupt that, that is highly illegal. It goes against the Fair Housing Act. Kind of cute little segue. Nisha, are you ready?
Also, Chanel, when you first moved in here, they'll tell you that if you stay here 1 year and you pay your rent on time and you pass your inspections, that you will qualify to go on the scattered sites list. And then like you if you late on your rent, then that they penalize you by, I don't know if they're taking you off, or if you have to wait for that next, like, a year for that late uh late fee or late payment to come off.
Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, we're going to talk about Section 8 now, and I'm going to put you on mute. Angie, go ahead. Nisha, you can come on camera. We were just talking about like the intimidation and the discrimination that happens. Um, what made you like this is the last fucking straw with Section 8?
When I kept trying to call myself and get paperwork done, like they would send me first of all, this is my first year on Section 8. They are no longer doing in-person briefings. They do all briefings and appointments by mail, which makes no sense because yes, you got some people that can understand paperwork, but you have some people that need help to understand. Some people like, person to person. So they send you this packet in the mail. They tell you what to do. You fill it out. When it was time for me to move, I went up there. I had went up there for like 2 months in a row. And I was like literally going a couple of days a week. I was calling, trying to get some information on my next steps because I didn't want to continue to live where I was at, or where I'm currently at. By the time I got to talk to them, they're telling me that I was supposed to do this so many months ago and that they're behind a couple of months. I would talk to the change line lady. She would tell me one thing. The receptionist at the front desk would tell me another. So finally, I just got upset. I'm like, something needs to be done because not only am I having this problem, but I also have friends and relatives that's having the same problem. And some of their issues are even worse than mine. So I went to speak at the board meeting. The very first time I spoke at the board meeting, I don't even think it was it wasn't a week. I got a call from a lady from the ombudsman. I think her name is Jennifer McNeil. She reached out to me and said that I spoke at the board meeting and I had some complaints, which was kind of funny to me because I never put my phone number or nothing on a piece of paper for her to call me. So that let me know they looked up my name from me stating my name. When I got the phone with her, after phone with her, I emailed her what I needed to email her. She, not even 3 or 4 days later, the board of director, I think her name was Barbara, she called and processed my case over the phone, what I needed done over the phone, which lets me know that if you was intimidated by maybe me speaking up, because now it's not just LMHA residents as far as like Dosca Manor, Beach of Terrace, things like that. Now Section 8, I want to handle my problem quick. That means that you can handle other people's problems also. Because some of the people are getting kicked off Section 8 because you can't get no solid answer. You can't get in touch with nobody. When I was calling to speak with a worker, when I got my paperwork, on the paper, it states the worker's name. But when I called to speak to that worker, she told me she wasn't my worker, that it's a team. And that they have it as a team because they are understaffed. As of right now, my rent hasn't been paid. I have 2 other friends, rents haven't been paid. Neither one of us have received the utility check. And one lady said she's about to be put off of Section 8 because they're claiming that they can't get their paperwork, but she has timestamps of everything she did and pictures of dropping off her paperwork. So I basically think they're just lazy. And if they're not, they're saying they're understaffed. If you're understaffed, why when you go on those websites, they're not hiring for that? They're not hiring for that job. They got some jobs on there, but it isn't for that one because I was going to post it. Like, it's not the resident's fault or the participant. We're called participants. It's not the participant's fault that they can't keep up with paperwork or they're not processing things in a timely manner.
I think it was definitely the the point that you made around when you happened to go up there. They had canceled the in-person, and we had been seeing that. I think everybody since COVID knew like a lot of in-person things that could happen before COVID had stopped, but we kept seeing that throughout the housing crisis that was caused with COVID. And they kept saying you can't go in person, can't go in person. But as soon as you went in person, all that changed. That was really interesting to me. I remember you hit
Yeah.
me up, and actually the next day that lady called. Um, how did that make you feel? You touched on it a little bit, but I could see your face.
It made me feel, I want to say, like, I was aggravated. I was frustrated because if it takes me to speak out for you to come and do something, because I came in publicly, I guess, or in person, then you should be able to do that for the same people that's calling. Like, at the end of the day, it's not people's fault that they're low income or that that's the way they live. Like they should be able to have adequate housing and feel comfortable with who their landlords are. Because at the end of the day, if you're not paying the rent, and these people don't know that you're not paying the rent, or they don't have the money to pay the rent, then that means they're getting put out. When it's under no fault of their own. I have a friend who I turned my paperwork in, this same paperwork I'm talking about, I turned my paperwork in and hers in the same day, and now they telling her they don't have it. Ain't no way, and I put it in the box. I think it's easier for them to say that they don't have it to try to lighten their workload. Because there's no way that you got, I remember right after that, we put up a post. Remember, I hit you up, I put a post up on Facebook. It was like 300 and something comments from different people that's going through the same thing. Whether it's paperwork, not being able to call, rent not being paid. Some people's rent is being raised and they not knowing. And I have one of my sisters called. They had to call her for her to do her paperwork because they said that the worker that she had is no longer there and she was not processing the paperwork right, and that she had been paying more rent than she was supposed to. Like, it should be some type of system that y'all double checking. Like, I think it should be like, how some jobs you have to have 2 signatures to do something. They need that for Section 8 because you need some type of witness. Because if y'all tell them that they didn't turn it in, they know they did, it's still your word against theirs. So at the end of the day, they still lose.
And I think that's what kind of pissed me off the most was that we keep hearing, and it's not just LMHA, it's just all these federally funded places of where people go get welfare. Your food stamps is the reason why I stopped getting food stamps, even though I really did need them. And I knew it was going to put a dent in me trying to save funds for other things in our household we needed. But the lying, it is the absolute lying of these employees to tell you that you did not turn this paperwork in when you were already going through other things. One of the things that really pissed me off too was when they let you know about how much your voucher was going to be for a space that you could move into. What is it now?
I think it was like the voucher amount wasn't. They just raised them though, but I believe it was. I couldn't find nowhere. I couldn't move. I think it was because of what they was giving you and what you allowed it for. Like, I think it was like 9 something that they give you, but you couldn't go over like $700 and something dollars. And that's like, you can't find nowhere to live for $700. So it's like they're not giving people enough room to breathe on those vouchers, because how is it that y'all looking at what's going on in Louisville and you setting the income limit for these vouchers, but it doesn't match what they asking for the property?
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
Right.
Go ahead.
Okay, no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, and I also thought it was weird that they couldn't tell you how much you would need to look for until you was ready to move. Like,
so when I put in for my move so I can move, I'm asking the lady, I'm like, so how much is the voucher, right now? Because I had changes to it so that I can know, what I'm looking for. She said, oh, I can't tell you that right now. You won't know it until you get your paperwork. I said, what? And she said, yeah, we won't know that until we process the paperwork. I'm like, well, what's the standard rate? Like, what's the standard rate? Now, I know you got to factor in income and stuff like that, but what's the rate for no income? Tell me that, and I can start looking there because it's only going to be more than that. It's not going to go below it. You know what I'm saying? Below that. She was like, "Oh no, we can't tell you." I received paperwork yesterday to turn in so that I can get the new. Now they done sent me the move appointment. That's what they say. The moving appointment. So I fill out that, turn that back in, and then I get the new voucher, and that's when I find it. So they make you go through all that, then they give you a voucher and say, "Hey, you got so much time to find something."
Yeah, that's crazy to me because I'm just like, you already looking for something. You already up against a time limit. They don't even know that some of these landlords, and it's been a few, because some landlords are just really over it. It was a while back, and they changed the requirements of who could be a landlord for Section 8, and it still wasn't addressing the slumlords. Now, all these people who are really trying to make sure that people can get housed or who need the income to make up for their income are getting shitted on because Section 8 doesn't want to send out their funds on time.
No. I seen a post on Facebook that said they telling people that they don't have funds. Because like I said, is this even true? I don't think they would tell us in the public, but I think we need to know because is this why people's rent's not getting paid?
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember seeing some girl saying she was like 5 or 6 months behind. That she got evicted. I don't know her, but I seen it on the post. She got evicted because I think it was on Stacy's post that she got evicted because her landlord hadn't paid in 5 or 6 months. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
and they think the landlords are just supposed to.
No, go ahead. You think landlords is what?
They just supposed to just take this because it's a program. They still want their money too.
That part. Do you want to come on, Alexandria, and say that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me set y'all up. I be thinking I be doing stuff. Like okay, you can even come on camera if you want. Go ahead, John.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I just got a couple of questions. Like, okay, so like, what is this about? Like, I know it's about the Section 8, but like, I mean, what are they gonna do about how they doing us out here though? Because I got a situation with them right now.
What's going on?
Because my lease, Section 8 had broke my lease due to my landlord failing inspection 3 times. So my sink had failed in and stuff. So he had failed inspection. So Section 8 had went on and broke my lease. But when they gave me my voucher, when they called me and told me I was to come and pick my voucher up, it was like probably like August the 25th. But I had to be out of my unit by August the 31st. So when I just finally got in touch with my worker, hold on, let me back it up. I went in a couple months ago because my voucher was only $10.52. So they told me I couldn't go over $9.50. So I'm like, okay, housing went up. Like, how y'all giving me $1,000 on a 2-bedroom? So Rose McCarthy specifically told me herself, she was like, well, if you add in your son to your voucher, it'll go up. She was like, he won't physically be added until after you pass your inspection on whatever unit you find. She was like, but you can sign in and see a leasing person and your amount will go up, which my voucher went up to $1,700. So due to them raising the amount to $1,700, she crossed out the $1,000 and put the $1,701, but she never put her initials on the paperwork. But I never thought that mattered because I've only had Section 8 for like, almost 3 years. So I got denied by landlords because she raised the amount but didn't raise the bedroom unit size. So my worker, Latoya Qualls, wasn't returning my phone calls or nothing. So she finally just answered December the 1st. And they know my voucher expired to 16. So she emailed me a lease extension request form. So I emailed it back to the person over the weekend. So they wrote me back Monday. And then they telling me now that it takes 3 to 4 weeks to get an extension, but they saying it's not guaranteed that I'm going to be approved for my extension. So I guess they added Rose McCarthy to the email chat. So now she's saying that the people at the window weren't even supposed to never raise my voucher. But you never even reached out. I had to leave in August, but you saying now that the 2-bedroom voucher amount went up to $1,300 in October. So why was I not notified about nothing? I just got this voucher just 2 days ago. And you talking about I gotta find somewhere before December the 16th. That's impossible. People take 30 days to process the application. And then if y'all say it takes 3 to 4 weeks for me to find somewhere to live, I've been without nowhere to live since August the 31st. Like, ain't no way.
Yeah, I think that's something I want to monitor too, how long people haven't been housed. I think the largest thing that y'all can do is this great documentation. Like, y'all are specifically saying dates and when something happens. That goes against the Fair Housing Act. And we want to definitely get that into everybody's hands. The federal government pays for this part of housing underneath the Housing Authority. When these workers do not complete their job, or they have a certain type of way that the paperwork and whatever fucking protocol it is takes place.
And then I found
Go ahead.
I went through the lady Stacy. So I found a landlord today who was gonna try to get me in before the 16th. But when I opened my packet to give her the paperwork, I don't even have all the proper paperwork. So now y'all saying I gotta come into the office, sign in, and meet with a leasing agent. Like, why was the paperwork not sent out? Because I don't really know about all the paperwork. All I know is when they sent me the packet.
Especially, and you had already been down there once about your paperwork being messed up. They would have thought that they would have made sure that your paperwork was
all they did was made a copy of the new amount and gave me the piece of paper. They didn't even put it on a paper where it's supposed to have the yellow paper up on it where it goes on to the next page. None of that was even in the packet from jump. And then the new voucher that I just got 2 days ago, you sent that to me on my email. And that's not even the proper way, because the landlords don't fill it out, because there's other papers that come behind that piece of page that's attached that has to be signed as well by the landlord. And then I wrote y'all all day today and nobody's replied to not an email.
Yeah, when they sent out.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was about to say, when they sent out the paperwork for the research and stuff, that's a lot of problems that I was having, and a couple friends too. They wasn't adding in all the paperwork that they supposed to be. It's like they purposely doing stuff to lighten their load to me.
And then it's like y'all responds to emails quicker than anything than y'all phones. But I've been writing y'all all day. Rose McCarthy, to be specific, along with my worker Latoya. And nobody's replied or nothing. Ain't returned a phone call, nothing.
Yeah, I think
y'all talking about, and the 16th is what, next week? Like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, I think that's been the largest contention I've heard throughout the years, like decades, is how many times they have switched and moved around different protocols for the different paperwork, and it throws people off. All of it so that they can say that, you know, they've housed so many people, or that so many people have been able to get this and be able to leave Section 8 as if it's like as if it's celebratory, like it's a good thing.
And see, today they sent me a recertification thing in my email. Y'all saying y'all trying to do away with the paper. But I filled that out, but y'all sent me that, but y'all couldn't respond to why my paperwork wasn't properly sent the way it was supposed to be sent from day one. But y'all sent me that to do, and y'all talking about I had a limited time to do that. But what am I doing all of this for? And the 16th is days away, and I still don't got nowhere to live.
So I want to lift up this point for like folks that'll watch this, because this is what I think is hilarious, especially when we do specials around specific issues. People come back and then watch it later. Then they want to raise the issue of what they saw or what they heard. These are real stories. These are stories that are mentioned by folks who are scared to actually name what is happening, because we hold housing very sacred to us. You go home to chill out. You go home to rest. You go home to eat. You go home to shit. Raising my hand.
Right, but see, but when it comes to us, y'all ain't worried about it. And then everything takes 3 to 4 weeks and 4 to 8 weeks. Then when you call the change line, y'all behind 4 to 8 weeks. How y'all expect somebody to get something done when y'all behind? But then y'all won't hold us accountable.
Exactly. And accountability works multifold. I'm gonna put it that way. People like to say two-way. It's actually multifold.
Definitely.
So that's one of the largest pieces that we want to build. What does it look like to build accountability around LMHA and make sure that it works? A lot of it is stuff that y'all are already doing. So y'all were actually providing the pieces that are needed for accountability. Y'all have been documenting. Y'all have been sending the emails. Timestamps are important. They can't say a call can't happen. And if you need to, you can go into your own phone records because there's a timestamp there. I'm like timestamp receipt queen. I just love it. It's so cute. You've also got the times that you go up there. I love the people that are taking pictures when they go up there, because then the people that are at the desk, if that's their job and if that's not their job, they are telling folks one thing or another. I do notice that the calls are different. So when I've called into LMHA, since we've been at the board meetings, they directly get me to the people that I need to get to, where before they don't know shit. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I'm not saying that that's everybody sitting at that desk, but that has happened in the past. So those things are changing. What we really need to change is if you're going to give funding to people who need housing, and to close the gap of how long people are without housing because of paperwork. And I'm like, Nisha, if it's a job that somebody needs, then give somebody the job. Admin work is not that hard. So where are you now? If you want to talk about that.
Who, me?
Are you housed? Yeah.
No, it's staying with a friend.
One of the largest ways that we are traditionally homeless in the city. When I say us, I mean Black mamas. Black mamas are the largest number of houseless folks in the city, just because they are not sitting underneath a bridge. And there's no shame to those people. Those people are getting it how they can, just because they are not in the cars, and some of them are. That is the number one place where people are homeless, living on top of each other, and it causes a lot of stress. This is one way in which we want to move community safety and care, is making sure people know that we do know that this is happening. We is us. This is not no specific space, but those folks got to know it too. So we do want you to come to the next LMHA board meeting, because there's a disconnect. What we did learn because of this work is that the board does not oversee the operations piece, and they oversee the policy pieces. So they're putting in all these policies, all that look cute. That's like if you set rules for your house and you done wrote all these rules, but you ain't give them to the kids yet. So they don't know the rules is to happen, and they doing whatever they want to do. And they breaking rules, but you ain't getting.
And it's just like how they saying it takes 3 to 4 weeks to even get an extension, but then y'all saying it's not even guaranteed that I'm gonna get approved for the extension. But how can I look for anything within those 3 to 4 weeks if my voucher still got 12/16? You see what I'm saying? Like it don't make sense.
Exactly.
And then y'all are obligated. Y'all said y'all are obligated for us to get one extension. I haven't even got that one. And y'all telling me I got to find somewhere before the 16th. It's impossible.
It's impossible, especially when you got to get the people, if you got to pay an application fee and stuff like that, and they got to do their paperwork.
Exactly, and everybody, and a lot of people's process 90% out of 100 of the housing, they application fee, processing fee takes at least 30 days at the minimum.
So when we're talking about what, go ahead, Nisha.
I'm sorry. When they done told you to get out of your situation, they done told the people they failed that they put you out of your apartment, but you not making sure I got nowhere to live.
And then when y'all told me my lease was ending, y'all gave me my voucher 5 days before I had to get out. Ain't no way. And y'all knew about this situation and him not fixing nothing since March. I've called the city on them. I've called Section 8. Like, they come out and inspect, like, everything. I done sent them. I done even went down there with the videos from where he wasn't fixing the window when it rains. My master bedroom was flooding. Like, y'all waited all the way up until August when my lease would have been up in October to want to break my lease. And then y'all give me a voucher 5 days before I got to be out. Like, I don't understand.
That part. So the board is hearing a lot of these stories for the first time, and they are a bit shocked. Our demands that we have for LMHA are just 5 now, because it's just unbearable to continue to keep complaining to the same people over and over again. That's traumatic. You know what I'm saying? You're asking and doing the same thing over and over again. We already know what they say about that, but it's just very traumatic when you're trying to make sure that you are providing safety for your family, regardless of what is happening in your life, when you are leaving domestic violence, when you are leaving wherever. So that number one demand is make sure to remove Lisa Osanka. So what had happened was, we pushed that demand. Everybody called, because there are several people who are not necessarily on the front line, but sit in other agencies and professions and have been naming to remove her for a long time. There were some promises that were made at the beginning of her tenure, and they have not been made. A lot of the talking points that keep coming from the city and out of LMHA professionals' mouths have absolutely been like corporate talking points. That's really embarrassing, especially when people are naming like what they have to do for their children, for their lives as a senior, as a disabled citizen. She has retired. That's a safe way of saying, yeah, you done fucked up, but you know what? You know, we got to carry through this, and we need an interim, et cetera, until we can find somebody. All right. What I dislike is that she sits over the board meetings, and she is still in charge of receiving the maintenance request. Her email is on the website as the email for maintenance requests. That is totally, I know this word is really funny. It's flabbergasting to think that the person who has ignored so many of the complaints, also centered around the 2018 issues of maintenance requests not being answered but being completed by paperwork, is still here and takes those maintenance requests. We also caught her.
That's the ones you call when your landlord don't fix nothing, right? The people that do the set up for another inspection, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I had to email them several times too, when my window was leaking. And then the one man, I think his last name is Barry, but I keep emails. That's why I use one email. But I wrote him too, because when I went down there, he was like, well, he sent me a video where he put some caulk outside the window. I said, it's not the caulk that's flooding my, thing. I said, he was like, well, because they had stopped his payments and everything. It got that serious to where they wasn't even paying him. So he's
that's a whole other issue with the landlords. There was a law that they changed and some requirements. We'll do that on another show.
Yeah, but he still failed, and y'all still failed to move me. And then here it is, August. My worker called me talking about I get to move, and my voucher be at the front desk, but it's 5 days before I got to be out. Like, what do y'all expect me to find in? I ain't packed the box or nothing. Like, 5 days, though, you got to be kidding me.
You hear me? So the other thing that I wanted to name was, when we were talking about the elevators, this is why that paperwork that y'all gather and the timestamps and when y'all send messages and all of those things is so super important. Screenshot that shit, put it wherever you need to. She was either giving false information or she lied about like what was happening with the elevators and how long they were out. Elevators is still jacked up and messed up and talking about they won't be fixed for a few weeks or something like that. But those elevators were going out every day as soon as we started teaching folks how to monitor and how to make those name what is happening. And so Enzo has been doing a good job of that, and a few others have been catching that and making sure that they call every time it happens, because that's what we really want to do. That's how they get the documentation at the federal level about like what is taking place at these locations, even at your home. So making sure that you call that ombudsman, that you demand for the ombudsman number and keep it. We'll definitely share it out on our socials, and then people can share the graphics wherever they need to. People look at graphics better, and it's in your phone and you can save it email it to yourself, anything that makes it even easier. We're trying to get a little booklet out so that folks can have all of these things, because post-COVID, it's just been really frustrating that that we continue to keep having these issues from folks who rush to get us back into business. The other demands is to stop the intimidation, the discrimination, and the gaslighting of residents immediately. Residents are very much ready to talk to lawyers. Some have already talked to lawyers about what it looks like to take on LMHA and are willing to do it. The way that people are being treated, elders are being talked to by resident staff, and folks who work there, people in the office. If you are having a bad day, step away from your desk, do some stretches or something. But like the type of language and the type of attitudes y'all give people is just super ridiculous. 5 of our organizers were talked to really reckless on election day, getting folks to the early voting polls. And we have documentation of all of that. The other demand is to make sure that DOSCR has this task force that Enzo has been talking about. Enzo talks about a lot of things, but what Enzo has been able to do is to name that there are ventures that happen every day in Louisville. Every day there's a venture that is made to create, to build. We got One Plaza coming. I don't know what that's called. We got Omni coming. And these names are really, really interesting to me, especially Omni using neighborhood names and even naming the restaurant Neighborhood Services after they use funds that were supposed to go to residents and citizen ventures. So, yeah, it's really interesting how our city sees what housing can be, but you want us to show up to work for you every day. You want us to clean your floors. You want us to work your liquor stores. You want us to work your gas stations. You want us to work your call centers. You want us to work your warehouses, but we can't have a place called home. And we keep wondering why our crime is spiking, our children are killing themselves, and we have issues of just disgruntledness across the board. It's really frustrating. 2 other demands definitely specifically look at what is the transformation of leadership at LMHA, including the removal of board members. We have yet to speak to any board members. That demand will stay until we talk to them. Like we said, we talked to the chair, pretty cool person, Pastor Gina Harris. Really love her. Gave us some insight on some things, and we're following up with those. Reverend Ellis, historic reverend in this city, always down for the cause, gave us some information about getting to committee meetings. Committee meetings are not public, and we have not been given that information yet. But we are issuing these pieces at the LMHA board meetings that we go to every 3rd Tuesday. There are some new board members that have made it to the board, and I love that they're asking like really hard questions. So it's been super awesome. I'm also glad to see like the amount of participants that are making it to the board meetings in person and on the Zoom. So definitely look at our socials for that, but you can find that on LMHA's website. I'm going to add that here. Yeah. LMHA1.org.
They don't know you, Chanel. They don't know you. Can't be singing to them.
I was wondering who. I was like, is somebody stuttering? Take breathe in deep, baby. Breathe in.
You forgot. You was about to go off into,
I really was. I know.
I have something to say.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I just want to amplify what you were talking about, kind of in one of the demands. In order for us to, want to be well where we are outside, whatever we choose to do when we are outside, we have to make sure that our housing on the inside is taken care of. You're not going to want to be a teacher and study and do all of these great things outside if inside you're not being taken care of, if it's unsafe for you to live. And I think that it's, again, very amazing to see LMHA residents organizing in a different way than I'm used to seeing. It's about time that we hold other people accountable, not just LMHA. You know, there's a lot of different big developers in the city, and as we are holding LMHA accountable, we want to make sure that our people are still able to thrive no matter what happens, where they choose, if they choose to stay inside of one of their properties or whatever. But we do want to make sure that everyone has the proper tools to organizing and do the research on who is in charge of these developments and what's happening. I just had to get that off because there's a lot of things, big developments that are happening, and with with LMHA, Dosker Manor being neglected for decades, as it was mentioned in the earlier part of the show. We need to make sure that we're doing our part. Us Black people, us poor people, all of us deserve to have a great place to live in, no matter if it's with public housing or not. And I'm done.
Now you better come on and be doing the grounding and the preaching, and like I like how people are like, let me get on the show, but also really naming those pieces. I'm gonna say this too, y'all. Enzo didn't always used to be clear and to the point. Like it has taken a lot for people to hear him and what he's saying. And it's one thing about our liberation movement. We're not getting ready to throw anybody away just because it ain't fitting the mold that whatever people make, especially in these little nonprofit industrial complex. We're talking about a nonprofit industrial complex getting a little money from the federal government. We are absolutely talking about human beings who have come into public housing, however, in any kind of fucking way they want to get the housing that they need to survive. The other thing that I absolutely want to lift up too is that housing is a given right. We say it's a human right, but you already are here. Human rights happen to be like written law and all that shit. We can go into that later. But you are absolutely already fucking here. You exist, so you deserve housing. You deserve housing. That's not a thing that cannot happen. Can you give it to yourself? Yeah, you sure can. But the authorities and the status quo decide that who can have and what type of housing looks like, and you fuck with people all the damn time. They fuck with people all the time, and they cannot have the type of housing that they want. It's really messed up. I could say more. We'll save it for a different show. I just thought about that. Like, let me compartmentalize my thoughts around that, because I do want to save that for a different show, especially when we talk about people within our movement like the Move family, John Africa, and all the people from that clan of folks living off the grid in urban Philadelphia, being bombed and shot up out of their homes, jailed for over 40 years because they wanted to raise their children away from the gadgets of the world and outside of white supremacy, while in white supremacy. We don't want to use those words, but that's exactly what we're dealing with when we do this. So somebody that wants to join wanted to talk about what it means to have your housing taken away and then try to get it back from government. I wonder if she's getting ready to jump on here. She's going to try to get on. I think, I don't know if it's a certain question that it asks y'all when y'all try to get on. I see y'all little Twitch viewer. Hey, yay. That's so cute.
No, it just asks you for your name and organization if possible, and then it just say join.
That's what I thought. Where am I at?
Or you can go, if you want to do it on your phone, it'll tell you to go through the website.
She's texting me. What else do we got coming up, y'all?
we have the community dinner on the 22nd?
Yes. Definitely got that coming up. The same way, throwing down with We All We Got. They're going to do a toy giveaway. Kentuckians for the Commonwealth will be coming out. Location is coming soon. That definitely is dropping tomorrow. Because what is this? Today, Thursday? This is, yes, it is Thursday. That is absolutely dropping tomorrow. And just want everybody to have something right before Christmas. I do want to say this. Don't let the holiday get you all guilt up about not being able to have gifts and everything. Shit, life is a gift. Every day you wake up, because some people don't even take another breath. But just make sure that you are spending it safely with folks, that you are taking care of yourself. Wear masks if you need to. We're getting ready into a syndemic. I swear, if they put something in front of emic, or is it demic? Demic. Again, I'm just learning all type of stuff. Put me on the pandemic team. A syndemic is when like more than 3 viruses are just out here contaminating the world, just going in our nostrils and all type of stuff. I'm a germaphobe, so I'm sorry, but we really want to take cautions on that. So if you take vaccines, take your vaccines. If you take all your medicines and vitamins, re-up on them, get them. If you need help with those, remember we only help with like Zyrtec, allergy medicine, and vitamins, stuff like that. We can get you some Tylenol if you need it. Okay, I got you. Oh, hello, look at Mary Hall. Oh, her hair look cute. I'm about to bring you on camera, girl. Bring the camera down a little bit. Bring the camera down a little bit.
Girl, what are you doing?
Pull the camera. Are you on the laptop? Oh, that looks so cute. I love how you did your hair this time, because that's all we can see.
Oh,
Okay, Miss Mary.
Who is that? Who's that?
That's Jasmine.
Wait a minute, I'm trying to see who she is.
She don't have her camera on. But why is your camera looking at your fireplace?
Don't I?
No, you do. Jasmine don't have hers on.
I can't make mine big.
It's okay. You want me to make you big? I can make you big.
A little bit, not a whole lot. No. Okay, maybe. No, I don't
Chanel?
I don't want to be that big.
Ducking off the camera.
Girl, I look crazy big.
Why are you trying to duck off the camera?
No.
But your hair does look good today. That is cute. I didn't know you was stunting on them like that today.
Today? Oh my goodness. What are you doing laying down?
I'm not. I'm sitting in a chair. I got the laptop up because I had it in my lap and I got tired of like typing on it and making my shoulder hurt. So we just streaming the show. You know, we like to do our little long shows. People come back, get their little information, hear their stories and stuff.
Hi, Angelita.
Hi, who is that?
It's me.
Who's me?
Miss Mary.
Can't you see her on the screen?
No, I just see her hair.
You
her glasses.
There you go, girl.
Hi, Miss Mary. How are you?
I'm good. What about yourself? Chanel look like she's laying down.
I'm sitting in the chair. Let me show you.
I'm sitting on the floor.
Okay, because I was wondering, like, why does it just keep showing us your hair?
Because I'm sitting on the floor.
I know, right? Yeah, I just put it up so I could be seen from right here. All right, I do want to do an entire show about y'all's whole situation out in California, because I think that's so super important about what is happening to the California neighborhood and the historic residents of California, who you've been able to organize. What's the name of your organization?
The Descendants of the California Neighborhood.
And how did you come up with that?
because I was a descendant, and I want everybody that's in the organization is a descendant, except for just two. And but they was here so much, so they're part of us, and so I just decided the descendants because they took so much away from us. And it's up to us as descendants of our parents to come back and challenge what they did to us.
Mm-hmm.
So I got 58 members. Our oldest member was my vice president, and she's deceased now. She was 80. And now the oldest one is in her 70s, like late 70s. So, and they participate. They come out, they help work, and they serve food, and they just want to be a part of it. And I started a membership fee just to see who really wanted to be. And it was just $25. But I said, in a year, everybody's going to pay $100 a lifetime to be able to do everything that we do. If we travel, we're going to raise money and travel. It's going to be up to this first 58 that I had to draw in more people and learn them what we're doing. Mostly their kids and grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, because other adults had a chance to get involved. And now they want to get involved because they see that a lot of stuff that we're moving. It's not a lot right now, but it is a lot. Just to have that many people come just to see what really happened to them, because nobody really knew in the California. Our parents knew that they was destroying them and trying to destroy our culture, but we didn't know about it.
Who was trying to destroy?
The city, every churches, the city, everybody who had any kind of power was trying to take the power that they did have, was their houses, their property, their cars. They were doing everything to try to take away from them. So that's what they do. When they find some powerful Black people that own their stuff, work hard for their stuff, they ain't worried about the ones who's renting, because they already got control of them. They do not want you to have wealth. They do not want you to have wealth. And I don't understand that, because they left here. And when our parents moved in here, it was like, y'all can have that. Don't come where we are. But now they seem that we maintained it until they sent certain people in to destroy us, or try to destroy us. They did succeed in a bit of the property part. But as people who are strong people that really willing to fight for what really belongs to them, those people are still here. And I showed that with 58 members of the descendants.
Yeah.
Miss Mary, hold on, let me turn my camera on so you can see. Hi, I'm Jasmine. My
Hi,
hair ain't cute like yours.
Jasmine.
I really think what you're how the descendants of the California neighborhood, that is really interesting. I didn't know that much. I would love to come get a little bit more information on that. I got my first apartment when I turned 18 was California Square.
Okay.
And it was a lot.
I remember when that was built.
People.
I remember when that was built.
See, and I like learning things like that. But what you were just educating us on, as far as the, how the people were doing, people in that specific community, I would like to sit down with you and hear some more of it.
Okay. We can set up a time to do this, like on a monthly basis, and we all put our stuff together, and we can form. I've been working with Chanel for ever since I met her. And I met her through another organization. And I mean, we just hit it off, even though we argue. You know, she laughs at me. I get mad at her. But it ain't even about us. That's what I try to tell a lot of people. We cannot like each other. We cannot like each other. But in order to get anything done, we're going to have to like each other. Just out in public and what we doing. When we get behind closed doors, you don't have to say nothing to me. I don't have to say nothing to you.
Exactly.
We're going to have to get it together. We're going to have to get this power. The power where you can call me, and if you mad at me, I need you right now. Come on down here. Let's go. Let's protest this. You know, and I'm getting off the subject a little bit about other stuff that people do. It's like 3 cabins. It's 3 of them. I hate the name Kevin. You know, that's a part of everything. All 3 of those cabins are in with each other. They help each other. They stand behind each other. I know every last one. I've been knowing them all my life. Every last one of those cabins. And they stick together and get shit done. Excuse me. I'm sorry. They get stuff done that they want to get done, and they forget about the people. I'm not going to let them forget about me because I was here before you.
Yes, ma'am.
So we have to just put what we know and put it into this generation to take back what we belongs to us, what belonged to them. Because we all was out of here, you know. We were, our parents was. Our kids shouldn't have to think about nothing. They need to live in a house, go to school, do their homework, play out in the playground. They took all of that away and put them on computers and stuff where they're not learning anything. They're dumbing up our kids. They're not teaching them nothing. They're dumbing them. And they find a way to do it. And we let them.
I think in everything that we do, we just have to stay liberated. We're going to have to educate our children. We're going to have to educate one another. Matter if we like each other or not. If you are Black, correct, we have light skin. We have to. There's too many people dying behind these basic needs. Right. There are too many people dying for all of us to bicker. We have so much to do. You help a lot of older people. I love helping everyone, particularly, I'm having a hard time talking, but mothers and people dealing with housing issues. But it's going to take us all to come together in all forces, not just with LMHA or New Directions, Young. We all got to come together to do this. We have to put our differences aside, because once we put those differences aside, the similarities that we have is our skin, and that we just want to be able to live. That's it.
Yeah. And housing is a important, very important part. Food is very important. If you don't have food and shelter, then, I mean, you don't have nothing. Yes, I mean, as long as you had somewhere to live, even if you didn't have no LG&E and you had somewhere to live, you're going to find a way to be warm. You know, you're going to find a way to cook that food if you didn't do nothing but go outside and cook it on a grill. A neighbor going to run a cart from their house to your house to fix food. That's the way we were brought up, to help each other. But now, you know, your LG&E cut off, everybody's running around talking about you. You get put out in your house, everybody's running around talking about you. But they may be next.
That part.
So you cannot keep thinking that you can do this and live by yourself. Not in these days and times. You know, my kids, I do everything I can for my kids because my parents did everything they could for me. Now, I'm not going to do for you when I know you can do for yourself. But when you can't, and I'm not going to watch you struggle if I can help you. That's with anybody. My neighbors and everything. I got a neighbor right now. That roof blew off their house in March. And they have gave the information, tried to get help and everything. And they tell them that they ran out of money. But they're going to do work on $20,000 on somebody's house that retired, school teacher, CSX, done got a lawsuit from the city. But they're going to do work on this person's house. So we have to really put our foot down, because those funds that come in here to do stuff need to come in and do it. So
That's
if
what it is.
if you're working in housing and want to help with housing, we're going to have to start going in, not, like a pack of wolves. We all hungry. Let's go in as a pack of wolves.
Yeah. Not a lone wolf, a pack of wolves.
A pack of them.
A pack of wolves. Mm-hmm.
Because every time you see a pack of wolves, they done spotted something and they're going to get it.
Yes, ma'am.
So we need to keep spotting stuff and go get it. And then once we get what we need, then they will start giving us what we need. But as long as we're bickering with each other, they don't care if we got a place to stay or not. They worry about if they got a place to stay, and then they want to put these programs that don't work for us. Because y'all want to send jackleg contractors to do what y'all want them to do for us. If you're going to give us some money, put it in a fund. Let us get our own contractors and hold them accountable in our neighborhoods that used to do the work on the houses. Our parents had insurance on the houses. Paid insurance for years and years and years. Never used it. If the roof blow off, the whole block would come and help put a roof on the house. I've seen it. My dad done it. And would continue to pay the insurance company. But now that you try to go to the insurance company, they done got so used to getting your money and not doing shit for getting your money, that now when you go get your money, they don't want to give it to you. You done paid all this money, and then they want to give you a high-ass deductible, excuse me, but to do something you done paid for 50 and 60 years. I went with the same insurance company my grandmother had on this house. And the roof, all that blew off and stuff when we had that real bad storm. My wall, because the ice was in the valley and it had weighed on one side of my house, so my wall was coming out. They're going to tell me that's wear and tear on the house. How you going to tell me that's wear and tear on the house and it was from an ice storm? So they don't even want to give you nothing. They just want to take your money.
They just want to take your money. Well, and
so we're going to have to have our own. We're going to have to get away from these insurance companies, put our own money in a pot. And if somebody needs something done, their roof, then you can come to me and get it. Just get a little bit of insurance. Whatever. You don't have to get what they want you to get. We can have our own insurance company. Just put money in it every month, just like they do out there in the Highlands and everywhere else. You don't see nobody with no roof, raggedy house, or none of that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see no windows boarded up. You don't see none of that because they have they put money into these associations where if Tom gets laid out from his job and he's out for a year, we're going to pay his house payment. If he need a roof, we're going to get him a roof. If his LG&E is off, we're going to pay it for him for a year. He ain't got to worry about it. Mm-hmm. That's what we need. We need to stop depending on insurance companies. We can have our own.
Yeah,
because they're not going to. They won't even fix this lady's house. $2,000 deductible, and she's 80-something years old. You done beat her already. You done beat her out of her money already.
Miss Murray, you about to make me mad about that. That's
what I'm saying. We can have our own insurance companies, our own little construction companies. If something go wrong, then they come and they pay a certain amount of money to get this done.
So let's come up with it. We got to plan it out and strategize.
Well, y'all young. I'm not young. Y'all young. Y'all need to come up with it and help me. I've been having this in my mind every time I'm doing something.
Yes. Well, give me the information. Come on. I have to. It's burning inside of me. Yeah.
I mean, we need to get our own lawyer. I got a lawyer that I pay him a retainer. And I probably never use all that money. Because I'm not going to call him unless I really need him to do something. And that money will be sitting there. So when we really get in trouble, I really get locked up, hey, come and get us out of here. And he says, I'm a descendant. He said, I'm a descendant. I said, no, you're not. He said, I work for the descendants. I got a retainer. Whatever. Okay. Then you won. So show me that, and you know, a lot of stuff he can help us with.
Yes,
He can help
ma'am.
us with. How do we start our own little, we don't have to call it an insurance company, a housing, you know.
It's called a community land trust.
Okay.
It's where residents get together and build their own trust.
Okay. Yep. Have our own insurance company to go in. We can go in and evaluate these people's houses. Get some of this grant money from the state and start fixing on these people's houses and get this money into our land trust bank. Mm-hmm. If anything needs to be done, we don't need no insurance company. Mm-hmm. You just did regular insurance. So, even if somebody fall on the sidewalk, slip and fall on the sidewalk, let the city take care of it. Hell, that's their sidewalk.
I think
you can't take a sidewalk. If we want to sell a house, we can't sell that sidewalk.
When we get because I don't even know fully what a community land trust is myself.
Well, Chanel needs to have a class on that because she's been preaching about that for the last couple of days.
We're gonna have to educate one another
so we can. And it's a lot of land.
Be as passionate like you.
It's a lot of land in the California neighborhood that I know where it used to belong to. So they're saying that we could get that land back if we found out we know who it belonged to for $250. Ain't none of that happened yet. We gonna have
what day y'all want to have the housing team community meeting again? Housing team meets pretty much almost every day because it's a housing emergency every damn day. But it seems monthly we get together to like really chill out. Most times we got to chill out every other day. Trust us. But when do we want to have another community dinner with us, just the housing folks?
I don't know. Whenever whenever you say, if I can come, I'll come. But if I can't, I can't. Like I'm on here now. I told you I was going to get on here for 10 minutes. You done make me sit on the floor.
I'm going to see the text message.
You going to see what?
I'm going to see what the text message said.
How about 2024? Like January, the first week of January.
That's fine. I was supposed to go to California for 3 weeks in January, but since I've been in an auto accident, I'm not gonna go because I gotta get me a car first. So that'll be a good time in January.
Yes, ma'am. That way you can also educate me on the founder descendants of the California neighborhood. Because I really would like to learn more about that as well.
Well, see, when we was growing up, it was, even if we didn't like each other, we still loved each other. Our parents, all of our parents knew each other. If you done got in trouble somewhere else, when you got home, you in trouble again. Nobody went hungry. That was no problem. California Community Center was all about the California neighborhood. It ain't about all these different people inside California. It wasn't. We invited who we wanted there. Now we have to be asked, can we come in our own facility? So it's a lot of stuff has been taken and changed. We don't have a safe place here. We don't have nothing here. It's dry, no grocery stores, no nothing. When we can have all of that. I keep telling them, I ain't asking nobody to give us nothing. Open up the door, we get it ourselves. Just open up the door a little bit, crack it. Just crack it a little bit. And I bet you I bet you we can be back on point. I bet you that.
I know it.
Well, the first step in the art of war is strategizing. So we really, really now more than ever got to come together and plot and plan and scheme in the best way. That's all it comes down to. They don't want to see us win. They want us to bicker. They want us to be divided in any way possible. Huh.
And they're succeeding. They're succeeding because all they do is throw a little money at somebody and they'll turn their back on, turn your back on you in the snap of a heartbeat. All they got to do is offer them a little bit more.
But there's more righteous people than unrighteous. And if you're righteous, you don't do things just for money. I mean, money does, make it a little bit easier for you to survive. But if you are righteous, then righteous things will follow. And that's just how greater victories are won. I mean, it's just going to take us a while. We got to figure out how can we all, all the good, like-minded people, how can we all come together? But we know who those individuals are, because you just know off top, unless you don't know. But the ones like me, like you, like Chanel, like all of us, we're out there. There's more of us, and we are going to be victorious. I just know it. I mean, sometimes I get in this mindset like they're all against us, and I just want to keep on blaming them. But we already know that. And I, like as time goes on, I can't just keep on pointing the finger at these people. We gotta change. We have to.
Yeah. And
so I'm looking
and
forward
then
to seeing you.
We need to go, like I said, in a pack of wolves. I mean, for them, talk to us. Let us tell you what we need. You cannot change our culture. They're trying to change our culture. They want us to not do what we do. We grew up on having, when we go to the park, we have a picnic. Just a little everyday park that we have in California. That was an everyday park for us. But like 4th of July, we going to Cox Park. That was just so much fun. Some people would go that was living out that way, because it was blacks living out that way during that time. They would come here to Shawnee Park, and that was a treat for them. But we didn't even go to Chickasaw. Cherokee and Seneca. I worked at those parks. That's the only reason I knew. When I worked for the city, that's how I found out about all of those other parks. I mean, during that time. But it was either Shawnee, Chickasaw, Cox Park, and the one out on Poplar Level Road. What is it? George Rogers. Every now and then, but we was at just our little bitty parks. And when we went to a bigger park, that was a treat. That was a holiday. That was the 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day, a family reunion. That's what those parks was. But now they changed them. Now a park is just a park, except for Waterfront Park. And that's something that they want for them. That's not for really everybody. There's a lot of stuff they build just not for everybody. And they make a way for it not to be for certain people by putting the price tag on it that they know they can't afford, because they're not letting them have it. They just keeping them down. Just like that Norton Healthcare Sports Complex. They gave them that little bitty complex, and they jumping for joy when they get ready to build one underground from out by the fairgrounds all the way downtown. And they can go under the tunnel and go. But they happy about that. Just like this Norton Healthcare Hospital that they're putting on Broadway. And the Goodwill. Well, the Goodwill on Dixie Highway caught on fire right after they had that announcement and stuff. Now, they want a bigger one out there so they can catch it on fire so they can get a big one. All the tricks and games that they play. Whenever they do something for the blacks, you better believe they're getting ready to put something bigger for them.
And on that note, we are coming up on 2 hours of the show. And
so I just came in on the end of it. Not gonna mess with you no more.
She says that every other day.
I'm looking at you just like you looking at me.
Exactly. This is what I was getting ready to say. Look at, I'm a genius. Listen, watch this. Listen. I brought Mary onto the show because it's important not only to talk about public housing and what is happening in public housing, but like what is happening with housing in general. And so what Mary has been able to do is call attention to how the city did take people's property. If we're talking about reparations, because I want to get there too. People keep talking about what type of money they need to give us, have a nonprofit. Reparations is real and they know where it needs to go. Redlining destroyed a lot of neighborhoods like California. Mary is talking about a historic redlining event that snatched and took away their homes from them and displaced them. And our mayor tried to say that the displacement didn't do anything. Anyway, I'm going to schedule the next show with some other residents. We'll see who we get. But we'll make sure that we always have this space to talk about what historically redlined neighborhoods and folks are doing to move towards a reparational or building power future. Like I said, let me see. What did I just make? Here's the announcements page. These are the things that we got out of today's show. If LMHA is fucking with you, call the ombudsman. Call them, tell them send you the ombudsman. If you got to say it in an email, I want the ombudsman right now, right? Sending those text messages, sending those pictures, wherever you send them to, everything comes with a timestamp. And so they will always have that. That's not only for them, that is also for us, the general public, who are building accountability spaces around LMHA and what that looks like. One of those was getting a hold of the LMHA ombudsman, who has been taking people's concerns. I am really hoping that she makes sure that she stays coming to the board meetings, because we will continue to keep sending people to the board meetings from here on out. December 21st is the next LMHA board meeting. That's at 3:30 p.m. We give free rides to LMHA residents. Absolutely call us at that number below, 383-9793, 502-383-9793. And then what everybody then said, we're going to have to build power. People did not get to this space because it was easy. They got to this space because they went through something hard. They went through something trying, and they was tired of people lying in their face. And these people get paid to do it from our tax dollars. So this is like you being the boss of your business, or making some money. You didn't pay somebody to do a service, and then they do you dirty. We're going to have to build power. And that's what that looks like. It looks like feeding folks just to make sure you can lessen the amount of things that are happening in your neighborhood. It looks like issuing a proposition to make sure that you get the same type of organizing respect that other places do, especially these big $1 million developing ideas that our little gremlin mayor has. Got the cutest little meme for him. It also looks like finding everybody who was displaced from your neighborhood, bringing them together and doing something that we haven't seen in Louisville, pretty much in this region in a long time. And that is like the descendants of the California neighborhood founded by Miss Mary Hall. So are you a previous California resident? Reach out to the descendants of the California neighborhood and join them. I didn't even know, like, one of my play cousins was a Californian descendant. I just seen her at the California descendant dinner. I was just like, oh, okay. I didn't even know. And like, she's like part of our family. And that was just so interesting to see so many people and hear the stories and just watching them just build with each other. So people power is taking place in untraditional ways. People are taking care of themselves. Miss Mary, you have an event coming up?
I do. It's only for the kids in the California neighborhood. We went to the California Community Center and asked them to get us families that they felt that was in, need of Christmas gifts. So we are taking on these families, and we have got donations from Heaven Hill, the United Way, and Brown and Foreman, and the Descendants, and Mary's Bright Idea, which is a company that I own and operate in the California neighborhood. And just different people from, GE. They have donated. If you all you probably, I don't know if you can see or not in my living room. Let me see if I can kind of let y'all see. I ain't got my little tree on today, but this is stuff that people just drop by my house and give to me for this. And I told them they didn't have to do that. And they said, well, we want to be a part of what you're doing. So we went out shopping today. We went out shopping yesterday. We have like 15-month-old twins. It's a boy and a girl. And I found a little dog with blue ears. And the little girl has pink ears. And I'm just real excited to see what their little butt's gonna do with this stuff. Because they just run around. Their mom, and they have a 10-year-old sister. She's the big sister. And they just great kids. And they don't have a lot. So I'm just want to see what all of them do. So that's what we're doing. And it's only for kids in California. Everything, they are having something on, I want to say the 16th in California. And they let everybody know. So all these other neighborhoods come, and by the time our kids get in line and get there, it's nothing there for them. It was so sad to me last year of the stuff that our kids got. I was embarrassed. And you know, I couldn't do anything last year. I didn't have money. But the Lord blessed me this year with money from a job I did, and the people didn't pay me. And I got a lawsuit, and I sued them, and I got my money. So that's a blessing for me, and I'm just so happy to do what I'm doing. I've gave donations to certain people for campaigns and just other stuff that I have never been able to do. And, you know, I got something for you too, Snotty Nose.
Me?
Yeah, you. And, you know, just the people that help me, you know, like Miss Bookie. That's my baby. Every time I got on some extra change, because she helped me. People that help me, I don't forget. I don't. And I was brought up that way. You know, if somebody died, you cook up food and take it there and try to make them a little bit better. You know, yeah, all of that's gone. We have to bring that back. And when people see me doing that, they be like, I mean, I done lost my license and everything. I done had to go get new ones because I'm doing too much. But, and I get told that all the time, you're doing too much. You need to sit down. I pull up to the gas tank and go pay for my gas and drive off and be the halfway down the street. My car starts dinging. I said, damn, I forgot to pump my gas. I did that 3 times in the last 2 months.
Girl.
I have. And turned around and went back and got my gas. But one time I ain't going to make it back to get it. So I'm going to stop doing that. I'm going to start using my card, putting it in there.
That or the little, that's easy. You stay right there. I hate going.
Yeah. Because I've done that 3 times and that's just wrong. I'm going to start writing down stuff. I'm getting ready to be 67, so it's getting ready to hit me.
Praise God.
Yep. So we're going to go ahead and jump off of here. For the folks that are on here, I'm going to definitely make sure we can cut up the videos. And you can use this however you need to, even the audio. Make little snippets for yourself. This is streamed everywhere where we are on Facebook. It's also streamed on Twitter and on YouTube. So it's easy for everybody to get to. And it's on Twitch. So yay. They talk about everything else on Twitch. We know that those people that are in that world too. Look, Soulja Boy got to be on Twitch. We're gonna be on Twitch. But yes, join us for the next time. Y'all see when it will we push it out. But we really wanted to make sure this show was happening because the stories are unbearable. People want to be able to be heard, and they want to do it in a safe way. And it's just too common. A lot of the shit is just too common. So thank y'all for joining. And we'll see you all next time. Bye.
Chanel.
What?
Chanel.
Hold on, Angie. Hold on.